Today's program is going to be extremely informational for you. You don't want to miss it. Today I have Briggs, who is the CEO of Hard Asset Management. Come right back. Welcome back to the program today with me, Briggs. We're so excited to have you fly in and come and be on the program. Yep. And you are so full of information that I think the viewers need to hear, because you are basically on the front lines with Congress, with your business. We're talking about social media, because I feel like a lot of people feel like when we talk about Mark Zuckerberg, we talk about Facebook, we talk about Instagram or whatever, Google, Microsoft, all these places, a lot of people think, oh, that's just a conspiracy. So I want you to bring some truth to the table and tell the viewers what they're doing to come against our freedoms and who we are. What are they doing?
So Facebook was started, the word Facebook is more of a college term. So it would connect alumni, people that had past relationships, went to college, some type of a collection of infinities, right? So, I went to Ole Miss, or if you went to Harvard, you had some kind of connection.
Collaboration.
Yeah, collaborate on whatever. Maybe it was a fraternity, a sorority, whatever. Great novel idea. But within days, literally, of getting launched, people recognized how fast this thing had gotten started, kind of did some hockey stick numbers there. It wasn't about connecting people at that point. Data collection. It is one of the largest media companies now in the world. Media
data
companies.
Collection. I want
Data
people
collection.
to hear that again. Data collection. What are they trying to collect and why?
Okay. The most powerful thing in the world is information. The most powerful type of information is data. The most powerful type of data is you. If I know everything about you, I know how you're going to vote. I want to swing you to the left. I'm going to give you content that marginally just starts to peck away. There's an old saying in software. You can eat an elephant at once, you'll probably choke, but if you eat it one bite at a time, you'll eventually eat it. That's eating your competitor.
Right.
You just have to
Republicans.
Exactly. So you just have to be very careful on not allowing people to see what they're eating or they're consuming in this case.
They have a veil over people's faces.
They do, and what it was is, I'm still at this point, after having been in the software business, I had a company, I'm still shocked by how much information people are willing to give up. We fight for freedom, liberty, and privacy. Facebook gives you none of that.
So what kind of things are they interested in? Why would they be interested in me?
Well, because they want to make sure that you don't vote right. Look at what Zuckerberg did in 2020.
So tell the viewers, what did Zuckerberg do in 2020?
Okay.
Lay it out there and tell them the truth.
So what Facebook did with a collaboration of Twitter, we know this for a fact when Elon bought Twitter, censorship. Limit the amount of information that could be subject to people like you and I to read it to make an intelligent decision. That's all it was.
They limit your decision making.
Of course, because they limit you the information. Look, in North Korea, when you watch the state media channel, I believe it's one channel, and it's on from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. and then the lights go out, all they do is tell you how great the government is and how great you are for loving the government, following the government, and everyone's going to be kumbaya, utopia, whatever. Facebook, same thing. What Zuckerberg did was take $1 billion of his money, which is really our money, okay? Whoever's on there created the inflation or the valuable company they say, I think it's $1 trillion now. So he took that money and those resources and he put $400 million of that into ballot boxes. Literally put them up all over the country, select states, communities, what have you. Put another $500 to $600 million into local initiatives to pay them to help ballot harvest. Period. Plain and simple. It's noted. He lied to Congress when he didn't censor. He lied to Congress when he didn't do the ballot boxes. He lied to Congress when he says, I never did all those efforts. Now he's backtracking. What Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp does, it collects data. It wants to know who the enemy of the state is. At the end of the day, are you for the state or are you against it? You name a communist country in the last century that ever held their enemies at a high? No. They put them at the low. In fact, they would execute them. In North Korea, I read about 2 weeks ago, there was somebody who smuggled in some contraband. The contraband was comedy DVDs. The whole family, cousins, nephews, nieces were executed because they didn't want anybody to have, the government of North Korea does not want anybody to have anything other than the ideology of the state. If you have comedy or if you have some other way of thinking, you might have hope. If you have hope, that might give you some ideas that this government may not be in your best interest and you overthrow them. That's always the fear of government, is that they're going to be taken out of the position of power and put into a position of prosecution for being so bad. So Zuckerberg is backpedaling. He's backpedaling a lot, where he's recently in the last few months come out and said Trump's not a bad guy. Maybe he is a warrior. Look at his comment right after Trump's assassination attempt. Wow, he's a tough guy. Well, he's backpedaling because Trump said, remember, I know who helped commit election fraud in 20. A lot of you are going to...
And he's talking about Zuckerberg.
Amen.
He's talking about, I know who's did this, and the facts are the facts. They don't want to bring it to the forefront.
Right.
But there was election fraud.
Tons.
And Mark Zuckerberg, I want viewers to hear that clearly, was behind the fraud.
Correct.
And that's Facebook.
Correct. And we're giving him billions of dollars.
Instagram.
And Instagram. Instagram's the worst. Instagram gets more information. Your assistant, when we were in the car today, remember she was talking about certain words that were used. Next you know, she's on her phone and there's the ads that correlate to the words that she was talking to her husband. That's right.
Because people think this is a conspiracy.
Oh, it's a conspiracy against us.
But that's what I want to bring to the forefront through this program, is we sit at home and we think, oh, it's just a conspiracy. Surely Facebook and Instagram, it's harmless, it's social media, but I want people to understand it's reversed. It's the conspiracy comes back to the Christians, to the ones that want the freedoms. It's really laughing in our face because people are falling for it and they think it's not real. This is real.
This is very
How real is it? Like, tell me, you were telling me on the way here from the airport, you were talking about David Green. Tell me, David Green is the head of Hobby Lobby.
Yep.
So tell me some of the things. This is one of the highest, I would say, influential Christians in our nation right now. David Green, who has the Bible Museum, who owns Hobby Lobby, who's doing a phenomenal job to help promote our freedoms. Tell me some of the things you're working with David Green and some of the things that they're trying to change right now. Yeah.
Well, the Green family, Oklahoma City, probably one of the greatest Christian families I've ever had the personal opportunity to meet. By the book, for the book, all that. He has organized for the last 30, 40 years a great nonprofit Christian organization for employees, employers that all have the same understanding ideology we all do, right? And so there's a 2-day meetings and kind of like a I'll call it a convention next week in Oklahoma City where Congressman Warren Davidson, the chairman of the House Financial Services Committee, and I will be presenting a lot of how the Democrats have taken the last 4 years, and really started under Obama. I hate to say this, but it really started early. It really does. Yeah.
Behind Biden is Obama.
Listen.
I mean, he's right there.
There's no question.
Pulling the trigger on everything.
100%. And it's not just Obama. It's Susan Rice. It's Valerie Jarrett, Jake
Pelosi.
Sullivan. Yeah, Pelosi. It's all of them. Schumer. Okay.
Kamala.
Yeah. These people are just plain evil. There's not a Christian among one of them. First of all, your basis of understanding, you don't have wisdom and understanding, period. So you got to think about it from that core. But going back, so the Green family has helped organize a lot of different things. Next week in Oklahoma City, Congressman Davidson and I will be presenting what really started under Obama, which he wanted to fundamentally transform America. Now let's talk about that. Is it secular? Is it communism? No, it's worse. It's to eliminate Christianity, period, capitalism and socialism for pure communism. It goes beyond secular. So when Obama started to bring down the U.S.'s value and try to increase value of everybody else, he realized it's going to take a lot longer than just the 2 terms. It would be Hillary the next 8 years and then so forth and so on. Well, while he was doing all that, all the countries, not all of them, I shouldn't say that, but let's say a lot of the countries organized a thing called the Briggs. Now it has turned into a lot of countries now, and I mean a majority of countries today have joined this organization called the Briggs.
Explain what the Briggs is real quick.
Okay, glad you asked.
For the
Yes.
audience.
The Briggs was organized by Brazil, Russia, India, and China to take on the U.S.'s dominant dollar reserve currency role. They didn't want the dollar to be able to be the reserve currency anymore. In fact, they wanted to eliminate it altogether. And the reason is they couldn't achieve financial supremacy or the premise of military supremacy. They wanted to destroy the U.S. And so Obama handed that to them. By devaluing our military, devaluing our dollar, our economics, he lowered us on the world stage dramatically. In fact, military was down to the worst numbers and readiness since World War II. It was terrible. Now, Hillary was supposed to take that and continue that. Trump got in the way. But unfortunately, under the Biden administration, even during Trump, and he tried to stop as much as he could, but behind the scenes, they were still working their little dominions, the Obamas were, that we now have succumbed to about 100 countries are either in or about to join BRICS over the next 12, 18 months moving forward. Our dollar is down to the lowest level of reserve currency status in history. We just went below 60% of the world uses the dollar. Gold has become the preeminent reserve currency of governments now. The euro is even, in some places, more valuable than the dollar. So what's happening is we're going to present what the BRICS is, what their ideology, and what could happen if we don't get Trump in the office.
You're going to shine a light on it.
Or we're going to shine a big spotlight on this. And we're going to talk about that, and then how the central bank digital currency is already out in the marketplace on a pilot program. People aren't even aware that cryptocurrency was not for the betterment of people. It was designed to get people conditioned and then programmed to not use checks or cash.
And how many of us can say we're using our Apple Wallet?
Your credit cards?
Your credit card?
Venmo?
So how can we prevent this from happening other than our vote?
Well,
Is there any other way we can prevent it other than who we get in office?
I think it's going to be challenging if we don't get Trump in office. That doesn't mean we can't pray and stop it. God may have a plan saying, look, I'm not ready for this. No, we're not. No, it's not going to happen. My will be done. Don't get me wrong, you're going to see an immediate change in fundamentals of the way government works and how much more powerful it becomes if Kamala Harris wins. But the scary part is it's the wealth confiscation that they're after. And they want to destroy the dollar. They don't want the U.S. to be anything other than on par to the lowest country in the world. That way they can bring in the New World Order and everything is seamless.
And they do that through digital currency.
They do it through digital currency.
Where there's and that's what I want the audience to understand. Mm-hmm. It's a currency like Apple Wallet,
right,
where we're all on the same currency internationally.
Correct. But as individuals, we have an obligation, whatever we're given by God, we are to be good stewards of that. And remember, the Democrats outspend us by 4-1. That tells you a lot right there. Why? We have lower voter turnout and lower contributions to our Christian politicians. That has to change today.
I heard a statistic. If every Christian would vote, we would outweigh the Democrats.
We blow them out
if
of
we
the
would
water.
just go to the polls and vote.
And if we do lose, I'm going to tell you right now.
What are the solutions?
Start buying a lot of precious metals. I'm telling you right now.
And when you say precious metals, you mean gold silver?
And silver. Mm-hmm.
Those
Absolutely.
are the two main ones, gold
Absolutely.
and silver?
Yeah, think about this for a second. There's an old saying in capitalism, in the hedge funds, the Wall Street banks, follow the money. Gold is up 54% in the past 20 months. Why? Because the biggest and the wealthiest people and the central banks, governments around the world are buying ahead of an imminent devaluation of the dollar, or a collapse of the dollar altogether, or a removal of the dollar where they debase it as the reserve currency. It's all based on mathematical providence. So if you have these things happen, the outcome is a conclusion. If she wins her Medicare for all, free child tuition, free child care, school tuition, free university, free paid medical leave, up to 2 years. Up to 2 years. And you still got to pay the person if you're the employee or employer. And if you start looking at it, it could be $35 trillion in her first term. That would put us at $75 to $80 trillion debt. There's no way.
There's so much data and so much background to what you're saying. This isn't just, you're not coming on just making this up. This is like conclusive in Congress, conclusive with influential people in our nation, including Trump. I mean, it's just, I want the Lord to help people from this program to wake up and the veil to be lifted. Because this is not just something that we're just saying because we're Republican or Democrat. It's beyond that. It's like, I love the Bible with all my heart. I preach the Bible. But what I'm trying to tell people is they could literally, even down to like you were talking about Obama, all these people not being Christian, they could even relegate if you have a Bible, because if you went to China, you can be arrested for having a Bible.
Yes.
And when you get into communism, and I have a good friend that came out of a communism country to our U.S. I mean, literally, they were tapping her phone and tapping her home and watching everything she did. And that's what I'm trying to say is you will be watched. You already are. You said by our phone.
Yes.
They're listening. People think, now that is crazy, Marla, what you're saying. And Christian, they're listening they can actually listen to my phone. So talk to me on the way here from the airport. You were telling me that your phone, this is going to blow people's minds. I know it is because it blows my mind, but it's the truth, and the people need to hear the truth. The truth shall set you free. So tell the people how they can literally listen to what's going on, our conversation. If our phone was sitting right here, if they wanted to, they can hear everything we're saying without me even having it on any app. They can hear me.
Yeah, I'll go into that whole viewpoint, but I'm gonna say this first. They can listen while your phone's off.
Oh, that's scary. They can listen to me when my phone's off.
Yep.
Tell the viewers where you put your phone.
So
when you go home.
We have a rule. We don't worry about turning phones off. It doesn't matter. We like to put them in the microwave. Basically, it's a box. It's a lead box.
You have a lead box that protects you.
Yeah, put them in those things, close it up, and they're secure. They're secure from any type of listening apparatus currently known. Now, does it mean they can come up with something 2 years from now? Possibly. Or they can use a drone or a satellite. But that phone is now rendered useless for them. Now, if anybody watching, and if they may know somebody, I'm telling you now, when you say certain words called keywords within a conversation and your phone is close enough to where it can listen, I think it's like 6 to 8 feet away these phones can pick up in that neighborhood. You're going to get ads. And if the ads start to relate to what the conversation was, then you have to understand, turn your phone off. Say those same words, turn it back on. You'll get the same ads. It all is in the power of the app. I want to ask a question here because there's no answer, but I already know it. How many people have actually read the terms and conditions of Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Apple, Samsung, Android?
We don't read those.
No,
it's like, what, 3 pages worth of wording that's that small?
You're correct.
So tell us what it basically says.
Okay. When I had my software company, we designed a couple patents on eye recognition within what we call a web page, right? A web page is really not a newspaper page. It's not actually equal. It's actually we'll just call them little buckets of information that all could be kind of like this, but it all makes up a two-dimensional thing. Okay, when we created some patents that could read your eyes and where we use your camera, would turn your camera on, and it would determine where your eyes were on a page. We knew back 15 years ago that people do not read a website. You know this? You don't read it, you scan it. You go from top to bottom. And when there's a word or a sentence that might trigger an interest or an engagement, you go left to right, okay? Terms and conditions, nobody goes left to right. They scroll down.
They just go to the end.
They go to the end because they wanted to download whatever that application is as quickly as possible. The way we vote is all they care about. Information that's gathered from all of these different devices and applications, or apps as they're called, is only for the determination of one thing: to get you to vote left. How many companies that you know that are in the top 50 of the largest tech companies in the world are right side leaning?
Not very many.
I know of one. That's
Which
Larry
one?
Ellison of Oracle. Good man.
Who
Trump
is that?
lover. Larry Ellison of Oracle Software.
Okay.
Good man. Good
But
guy.
all of the big companies, Amazon, Google,
Far right or far left.
Microsoft,
Yeah.
all of these.
If I just saw a report that showed the top, I think it was 30 largest donors to Democrat Republicans of the tech world. I think 29, it was over 75% of the principals, the employees voted Democrat. Yeah, their sales are getting smacked a little bit, and rightly so. DEI is a communist term. There's nothing about that that's capitalist or for the people. That is a government initiative to enslave a certain type of people, demographic, and or race, right? We've heard about this now. So they've backpedaled a lot, but they're still voting left. They're still contributing personally left. Their company policies may have been redacted a little bit and said, oh, we can't do that because we're getting hurt. Remember what happened to Budweiser, okay, or Anheuser-Busch, you know, the Busch, the beer, when they had that trans thing, whatever. I'm sorry, I don't mean to disrespect, but I don't even know what it was, actually.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They had for the viewers, they had a transgender commercial.
Something like that, yes.
And the Christian conservative is like, why are they showing that? Because they didn't agree with it.
Oh, their still sales are down 25%. Whatever the reasoning behind these companies' ideology is to follow a small minority of people that believe in that ideology, because it is a small minority. It blows my mind. It is not helpful for the general public. It's not helpful for all people. It actually, it quarantines almost, it puts people over here, like take what's happening in enrollment and acceptance in colleges today. It's terrible, this equitable thing, right? This affirmative action, which was deemed to be unconstitutional and racist.
And who brought it forward? It was someone, well, the affirmative action, but it got overturned from someone that was from another race, saying it's not fair that African Americans are being put in front of me when I'm smarter.
Right.
It should be by your brain,
Right.
your intelligence, not the color of your skin.
Correct. And then Obama, during his 2 terms, said, we're gonna make affirmative action the law of the land. Forget what the Supreme Court says. We'll bypass it. We're gonna let those Harvards, those Yales, or whatever other colleges, you can usurp. It proves the point that the Democrats don't look at the Constitution as the playbook. They don't hold that to be the doctrine
It's
of
not the
value.
accountability, and
No.
it should be the accountability.
It's correct. You play by the rules. That's the way the Constitution is. If you play by these rules, everybody has an equal opportunity, period.
Not according to your race or gender,
Correct.
equal opportunity based upon your brain
Right, correct.
and how hard you work,
That's right, that's right. And so when you think about that,
which is capitalism.
it is capitalism by default, because the government has less authoritative principle or value over
It's
you.
for the people.
Correct. It's for the people. That's why the document, they hate that document, because the people govern themselves. The government doesn't govern the people. And that's the ideology. The ideology of the left now, and liberalism, Reagan said it's great. You'll know fascism and you'll know communism as soon as a liberal starts talking about how the other side is fascist or communist. You'll know exactly.
And that's why we need to open our eyes to see what they're accusing is exactly what they're doing.
It's always been that way. Russian collusion. No, it was Hillary who paid Christopher Steele for the dossier. It was never Trump. Trump's like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what the heck this document is. Next thing you know, they're like, oh, Trump this. And when he made the call to Ukraine to check on the corruption, they said, oh, he's trying to create corruption. No, he's trying to check on the corruption that we know now is true. Everything they say Trump did or Republicans do is a page
what
out
they
of
do.
their playbook. It's like, I always said this, whenever a Democrat talks, do the opposite and know what they're talking about is what they do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's they're falsifying. It's a fake facade. And I was thinking about what you said earlier, where North Korea, it's a law. You have to turn off your TV at 6 p.m. Can you imagine if our country was ran that way? But if you look at our country right now, being in an election time, I mean, I can't even hardly watch ABC or CBS because it's so far. I mean, they're relegating, they're just pumping in all this knowledge to make Trump look bad. I mean, I watched Fox more than I ever have now because I can't even hardly turn on my TV without them falsifying something. They twist it.
Yeah, they twist it. I think on the local channel, when was it 458 or whatever, when we were kids, if I still had that type of TV, there'd be cobwebs on the 458, the ABC, CBS, NBC. I don't even watch them.
I don't either.
I haven't watched them in probably 2 or 3, 4 years. Remember the nightly news? I used to love to watch it at 6 o'clock, 5:30, whatever it was.
Everybody used to gather around after dinner. We watched the news.
That's right. Walter Cronkite or whoever it may be.
Because it was even. They gave the true news. Now it's so embellished.
Do you know why it got changed so quickly?
Why? Contributions?
No. So in the late 40s, there was a law passed that did not allow news media companies to lie or distort a story. In 2014, I believe it was, Obama signed an executive order that took that law away and allowed media companies, it might have been 2012, but you can look this up, allowed media companies to lie, distort, even change completely what it was about. Like, that's not even the beginning, the middle, or the end. Like, where did that come from? Because that's an orange, and we're talking about apples. But they made the orange an apple. They literally could change the dynamics. And so Obama said, I'm going to remove this law because there's too much disinformation out there. No, you created the disinformation to create propaganda because you knew at that time you're not going to serve a third term, at least directly. Indirectly, Hillary was your girl. She was your protege, and she was going to get in there, and she agreed to continue his legacy. Communism, by definition, is where I get you to believe the unbelievable. By you believing the unbelievable, I dumb and numb you down so much that everything I say becomes believable and credible. Think about this. I can tell you right now that a man can have a baby. There are people that believe that. I can tell you that you can identify as a cat, dog, rat, or a mouse. There are people who believe that. That's communism. Communism starts at the core of the family, and once they get the ideology into the children, if they can't start at the parents and break them up, then they go to the schools.
It's manipulation.
Manipulation. It's brainwashing. So the Democratic Party has three fronts. Ideology, brainwashing at those school levels, whether it's 7 years old to graduation of university. They're also doing it on your money by creating inflation and high taxes. Less wealth creates less prosperity. And the third thing is they're doing it on our free speech.
I'm just advocating and begging people from this program to open their eyes and see the truth, and that the truth would persuade them to have this in their heart to say, I don't want that in my country. Well, we have the ability to keep that from coming into our country by a vote. Mm-hmm. That can be our greatest value, is how we vote.
Correct.
And if we get the right people in our senators, our government, our president, and that's how we can make a change. Of course, prayer. Mm-hmm. Prayer is going to be the top of the list. But our second thing we can do is by doing something physical, spiritual and physical. Mm-hmm. It boils down to spiritual and physical. Mm-hmm. Well, our time is up. And it's been a great valuable, I think, to listeners to hear from someone that is directly involved with Congress, directly involved with knowing the currency, knowing that this socialism could turn into communism, and giving viewers an inside information from so much history. And I just appreciate your wealth of knowledge, and we appreciate what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for you.